I want to make sure what?
That you don't actually look like a vampire on these things. I mean,
Why not?
I had the incredible honor of interviewing Dennis Gruenling. Dennis has won multiple blues awards, including Best Harmonica Player of the Year, and recently, with Nick Moss, Best Blues Band of the Year as well. He's an absolute gearhead, an incredible guy, and just overall one of the best harmonica players I've ever heard in my life. And I'm so glad I was able to sit down and actually pick his brain. So here's Dennis Gruenling.
You read music?
A little bit, enough to be dangerous.
Nice. What notes are you reading?
Oh, let's see. I was reading A couple days ago. I read C this morning.
Nice, nice. Do we look at each other or do we look over there?
Wherever you want. You can look here.
Oh, there?
Yeah.
Or there?
Or you can look at me.
Or there.
Look at me.
Or do I look here?
Oh, God.
Or there?
That'd be so great.
Or over there?
Hi, everybody. This is Dennis Gruenling. Dennis, you want to say anything to all those people that might be looking at us?
Actually, not at the moment, no.
Okay. Fine. Oh, my God.
Who's watching us?
Yeah.
Is there anybody here? Does anybody exist?
Oh, my God. So, I'm so glad that you did this. Where are we at?
We just started. How could you be that glad?
Oh, my God. We're at Spa. Spa stands.
Well, technically, we're not at Spa.
We are at a hotel that is a little away from this, and we're nearer to the Alamo.
Yes.
Which
and
has
we were just in the basement. It was amazing.
We found a bike.
Yeah, it's pretty cool,
yeah,
right?
It was pretty freaking cool. But we are at SPA, which stands for
the Society
and Preservation.
Wait, hold on. No, we gotta get it right. You threw me off because you didn't use the word for it. The Society for...
Oh, it's for preservation, isn't it?
And advancement.
Of harmonica.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
that thing.
Yes.
That's why you're here, right?
It is why I'm here. Yes.
Oh my God.
Well, it's not why I'm here. I'm here.
I mean, it eventually
you asked
led
me to be here.
It eventually led to here.
It
right?
did. It did. Because you were there and I was there and you asked me here, so now we're both here.
We are both here.
Technically.
This is going so much smoother than the interviews that you do on your little...
Oh, well, come on. I've been.
Oh my God. I want to make sure that you...
Don't forget to look at the camera.
I want to make sure that you get the recognition you deserve for TikTok and Instagram.
Oh, well, thank you.
That's the big thing. I always
appreciate that.
Dennis is probably one of my favorite people when it comes to style. I mean, as you say, like, look at this beautiful specimen right here. But
thank you.
One thing I always was curious about is, one, how did you start? Did you like find a teacher? Did you see something? How was the whole reason?
How did I start on harmonica?
Mm-hmm. Let's start there.
Well, I was always into music. My oldest memories even involve music for some reason or another. Played trumpet in grade school, played guitar in high school.
Oh, did you? Okay.
And you didn't know that, did you?
I play trumpet too.
Now? Or you used to?
Then.
Oh, really? At the same time I did?
I wish. That trumpet would have been really freaking small.
Yeah, I know. That would be amazing if you did. Microscopic. Amazing. Okay, so, but years later, before I dropped out of high school from my third junior year, a proud achievement of mine, I must say. You know, I was into music. I was still in high school, and a friend of the family, like an uncle of the family, he played guitar and banjo and harmonica, and he asked just one year randomly for Christmas, he's like, you know, would you like a harmonica? And at the time, I mean, I was always into music, and I had heard some rock players play harmonica, you know, from, you know, David Lee Roth to New York Dolls to all that stuff, and I was like, all right, cool. You know, I've heard harmonica, could be cool, whatever. Didn't think much of it. But of course, there was a catch. And the catch was he wanted something in exchange for, you know, he wanted a Christmas gift. And it happened to be this blues album called Harp Attack.
Oh, yeah.
So
iconic.
When we met up for Christmas with family around the holidays, he gives me my first harmonica. And I gave him this Harp Attack album with James Cotton and Junior Wells and Carrie Bell and Billy Branch on it. And so we exchanged, and I'm opening the harmonica, and then, you know, I'm looking at the album. You know, I bought it, so I knew what it looked like. But I'm like, these guys are all playing harmonica and stuff. Like, can I hear the record?
Yeah.
And I heard the record. I mean, keep in mind, this is the first day I got my first harp. And I heard the James Cotton and Junior Wells and those guys. And I was like, wow, like I didn't even know this music was its own genre. Because I was always attracted to the bluesier side of rock and roll, but I didn't know it was the bluesier side. I just thought it was those songs I liked, you know? But I didn't realize it's the blues thing that I was liking so much.
Interesting.
And then it all made a connection in my brain. I remember that moment like it was yesterday, like just putting a needle on that first song of the record and hearing like that opening blues, you know, and that opening guitar, you know, turnaround lick. And I was like, this is the stuff I love. I didn't know it was in concentrated form. So that was kind of it.
Wow, interesting. So you knew of harmonica and but you wanted to do the rock and roll stuff that they were, not rock and roll, but like the more harder blues stuff that they were doing at the time.
Well, that's just what I had heard at the time, you know, and I wasn't necessarily, you know, I wasn't chasing after harmonica because I heard Ozzy or David Lee Roth or New York Dolls do it. I just was like, okay, cool, whatever, it's music, I like it, it's an instrument. And then when I heard the blues guys play on record, I was like, wow, I never heard anybody play like that.
Well, and the aura of those people on top of the musicianship. Me and Nick Clark had this conversation a couple of years ago where they become bigger than life because of the way that they presented themselves on the stage. And especially in our era after they passed, you know, they become these enigmas and these figureheads, and you got to remember to yourself that they're just people on some level, but the aura of them was the coolest part. And
totally,
like all the groaning and all the stuff that Howlin' Wolf would do, and like how scary that is for a kid or someone young that's listening to that, and they're like, what is that?
Well, it's funny you say that because I was already collecting records and buying a lot of records because I was into music. I was a music freak. And even at that time, I had, you know, regularly gone to rare record shops and record shows, record expos and all that stuff to find all the cool off-the-wall stuff. But then, of course, I started buying blues records because I just got into blues harp, right?
Yeah, right?
And one of the first albums I got, like the first week or two after getting my first harp, the blues, I believe it was Volume 3 on Chess Records. You know, so it has
that's
like
an iconic,
Little Walter, Muddy Waters, and on that record or another compilation, it was Howlin' Wolf's I Asked for Water, but she gave me gasoline. And I was, in that whole thing, I was so freaked out by the weird sounding guitar and his voice. It was nightmarish, but also I wanted more of that. You know what I mean? It was like, it's so bizarre and wild and crazy and very visceral. And I was like, what is this? I don't know what it is, but I want more of that.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was pretty, I'll never forget that moment.
Yeah. You, at least in my knowledge of the harmonica world, are such a swing player. You became a swing player over all this time, especially with like Doug Deming and doing your own solo career.
Right.
And I was always wondering when that started, because I know that you're an incredible blues player as well. But you kind of did this interesting, not shift, but there's a different vibe.
So there's totally different vibe. I grew up, my dad was all into traditional country music. So I heard all old school from Hank Williams, Johnny Cash, like all the old school country stuff, which I still really like a lot. And my mom mainly into oldies, right? But little did I know, like the common denominator there was like rhythm and blues, right?
Yeah.
I remember, you know, hearing like some big band stuff that my mom would listen to on the radio sometimes with some of the oldies stuff. And when I got into blues and I started hearing some jump blues, I'm like, I love this stuff. I tried to learn Chicago blues stuff, but I also at the same time was, you know, learning stuff from Benny Goodman and Charlie Christian. And like Louis Jordan, you know, and I didn't hear people do that on harp, but I loved that music. I loved that sound. Way before I hooked up with Doug Deming, you know, I had those Jump Time albums.
Yes, of course.
So I was heavily into that stuff. And I wouldn't necessarily call myself a swing player, but a big swing influence player.
Absolutely.
Just like I studied the Chicago blues harp players like the Walters and the Sonny Boys and George Smith and James Cotton and stuff. I studied, you know, sax players like Louis Jordan and Earl Bostic and Red Prysock and Illinois Jacquet and Lester Young. Because I also loved that, which was also, to me, it was blues.
Yeah.
It really was.
I listened to a lot of Pete Fountain.
Right.
That's my inspiration for a lot of the fast clarinet, the clarinet lines he did. There's a video of him, and I talk about it a lot. There's a video of him on Johnny Carson.
Right.
And Johnny didn't let a lot of people run over their allotted time, but Pete was always a joy to have on the show, that he always allowed him like 2 or 3 longer songs as a segment. Beautiful, because the lines that he's doing are so fluid. And I think that harmonica and clarinet are such a cool combination together.
They are, yeah.
And that's why I like the saxophone lines as well, because there are so many interesting like ascending lines and descending lines, and just the wailing notes that you can get that are on bends and 4, 5, 6 is just awesome.
Totally.
So another thing that's also your style is I love, first of all, this outfit is fucking awesome. This is like my favorite outfit of anyone I've seen here at the convention. I don't necessarily know if you've ever talked about this on an interview. Like, how did you like identify your style? Because this is a very different style than most modern players, I think. I love it. I feel like that it's so uniquely you, and you have the amp that matches the suit, and the suit that matches the jacket, and the pants, and the shoes, and...
Well, it's just, you know, the way I dress is just another way of self-expression.
Of course.
And when I was younger in high school, I mean, I dressed like this. I painted my nails, I wore crazy clothes that I didn't wear them because they were crazy. I wore clothes that I dug.
You felt comfortable.
Right, I felt comfortable. I thought it was an extension of who I am and how I felt. First of all, I don't like being in the spotlight.
Really?
I know it seems odd. I don't like being in the spotlight. I don't like grabbing attention, right? I tamed down what I wore, really, like when I performed, because I just wanted to be respectful and not draw attention to me, and just have it be just about the music.
Interesting.
And as I got older and also felt more comfortable on stage, and then eventually started singing, and I cared less about what people thought and just more about being me. And it helped me play better, it helped me learn to sing better, it helped me learn to do everything better.
Well, and I feel like that's a big lesson though. There are a ton of not just harmonica players, but musicians that are so shut in about who they are as a person, and letting that affect them on stage.
Yep.
And in everyday life. They're kind of stuck in this bubble of trying to figure themselves out, you know?
I think that's maybe the majority of people. And, you know, I mean, and I think also it's a constant ongoing thing, because we do evolve. I mean, not all of us, but hopefully a lot of us, most of us evolve,
I always say, when I go on stage, I played with the Robert Lockwood Band a lot. So you know Wallace Coleman.
Sure, yeah.
Wallace is an incredible player, and was very much like a back kind of porch person, never really putting himself out there. Right. But the band always played with Robert, and Robert always liked being in front. You know, that was his thing.
Sure.
So I remember I played with this guy, his name was Vernon Jones, he was a fill-in drummer. I was like 16, and I remember I showed up in jeans and like a workwear shirt. And he looked at me, he goes, "Boy, if you're gonna be in my band, you need to dress." He goes, "I am not hiring you for another gig."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yes, sir." And I came in a blue suit, blue tie, blue shoes, blue everything. And he's like, "That's better."
Yeah.
So over time, that has become, I've learned how to create my own style on stage.
Sure.
But beyond just the outfit, what else do you feel like qualifies you as a performer to put yourself out there like that? What else should a striving musician look for in order to be that showman? You
know, first of all, you got to be true to who you are.
Yeah.
You know, and Rick really made this point to me early on. I mean, you can't fake who you are. I mean, some people do, you know, but it's usually not that successful. I mean, you got to, whatever you're going to do and present, it has to be somewhat part of who you are, really. That's the strength of any artist, any great artist, or just any artist in general, if they're just themselves, because, you know, everybody's a little different, or, I mean, some are a lot different, right? And if you're yourself, there's nobody's going to be exactly like you.
That's true.
Whether it's how you perform your art, or how you look, or how you communicate, you know, and all those things are really important. So I've worked at those things a lot over the years to get better, not necessarily to go down a certain path, but just to be more of me, who I am and who I wanted to be.
Well, when I was a kid, and I've like going to spa for the first couple times and meeting you, I made a list. So I made a list of like all the people that I really enjoyed as a performer and as like person. So like John Namath was in there, Rick was in there, but you were also in there.
Oh,
and I really kind of went, what does Dennis do that I really respect? And I'm like, well, he dresses. That's one. That's like has to be the biggest one. But two, you with Doug Deming at the time were very much a side band leader, at least in my mind.
Right.
You know, you created this fill that a lot of harmonica players don't really do modern. You know, Little Walter kind of did it with Muddy, and Judy Wells kind of did it with Buddy Guy on some level, but you did it in a whole new modern aspect. Why do harmonica players assume that role as the band leader? Why is that?
In order for them to perform a lot or perform the music they want, they have to form their own bands.
No one wants a harmonica player.
Right. And let's face it, I mean, part of the reason comes down, I think, to finances, where a lot of bands will strip down so they can make performing on the road easier. They're not going to get rid of the drummer. They're not going to get rid of the bass player. Usually, they're not going to get rid of the guitar player. Almost always, they're not going to get rid of the vocalist. So the first thing to go is going to be one of those other side or accompaniment instruments. So harmonica players have kind of learned to be like, okay, well, if I want to do what I want to do and not just sit in with this band or do other kinds of music I don't want to do, I have to form my own thing.
Got it.
There were a few harmonica players when I started coming up on the scene and going to watch live blues that would be in the sideman role, but not much. They were mostly the frontmen. And back in the day, I loved that accompaniment stuff, whether it's the Chicago blues, you know, Little Walter and Big Walter playing the backup stuff, which is there's so many cool things going on.
Oh yeah,
that you only discover if you study the accompaniment stuff. And even like with the jump blues and the swing stuff, when you study the horn stuff, like the soloists are always cool and that's awesome, but you learn a lot of other stuff when you study the background and the comping and the accompaniment stuff. And I wasn't singing also back then. And me and Doug just we randomly, you know, hooked up and started chatting, and one thing led to another, and we started touring together, and you know, it just kind of made it fit, you know. It
really did. You guys had a great sound. I love your stuff with Nick Moss too.
Thanks.
That was an incredible move for both of you, because it was creating two powerhouses, at least in my mind, in the blues realm, but did their styles slightly different, and kind of coming together and creating something that was very truly unique. And I always appreciate when you and Nick are on the road and try to catch you guys when I can.
Thanks.
You know, so
yeah, and that's definitely more Chicago based than the thing I was doing with Doug. But also I definitely sneak in some more of that jump blues thing or a little of that rock and roll thing. Because, you know, I think there should be multiple facets to what we're doing.
Yeah, dude, for sure.
Yeah, and he knows how to play all that stuff, so.
Have you ever seen those videos of those people that go into, like, Comic-Cons and they go, hey, can you sign this picture for me? And it's like a really embarrassing photo of somebody.
Sure, yes. There are many of those of me.
Oh,
and they don't all date back far. Some from today.
One of my favorite harmonica things is the Harmonica Summit. Oh, yeah, I ripped off the Band-Aid there. So,
yeah, that's funny.
Which, for people that don't know, the Harmonica Summit was, can you explain it? Because I feel like you would explain it better than I would.
Wow, so it was a gathering of harmonica players by invite only, from what I recall, because it was many years ago. Howard Levy hosted kind of like this weekend. You were either there because you were invited as like an young up and coming player, or you were, you know, a player on the scene who was kind of influenced or inspired by Howard's style. I kind of remember a little bit about the weekend because it was a long time ago. But I remember telling Howard also at the time that I was tongue blocking my overblows back then.
Which is unbelievable. Even now, there's not a lot of people that still do it now. I've learned in that time.
People do it, but that's definitely back then it was like unheard of.
That was unheard of.
And he was like, no, you don't. I'm like, well, I do. What do you mean, no, I don't? He's
like,
from
the guy that overblows everything, you can't fucking do that. That's not fucking possible. And you're like, watch me.
But it was, I mean, I wasn't playing like he did, but it also isn't my style, you know? But I was really intrigued by what he was doing. And it was a pretty awesome weekend to be part of. When I see footage of that was like, you know, 5 lifetimes ago. You know, I barely remember being that person. You know?
But I have to say, that's a powerhouse of group of people.
Oh, that was amazing. Yeah.
Because I sat down and I watched all the videos that they had of like part 1, part 2, part 3,
really?
part 4.
Yeah.
And just seeing that crowd of people with that much knowledge challenging each other was such a beautiful thing, especially at that time, because I don't feel like there was a pro community of players that were really kind of doing that. Now it's a little bit more accepted.
Right.
But then that was very new.
Yeah, it was very new on the scene. It was very new also in the harmonica community to have, and that was happening a lot also at the harmonica conventions at the time. Like the younger, non-old school harmonica players, meaning you weren't in a harmonica band from the 40s and 50s playing old standards on chord and bass. And not that there's anything wrong with that, it's cool. Mm-hmm. But there was this big change because younger players were coming up who played rock and roll, who played blues, who played country, who played jazz, mostly on diatonic. And there was a lot of things happening on the scene overall at the conventions and other meetups like the Summit, that was kind of changing the whole international harmonica scene really at the time. Yeah. It was really interesting.
Yeah, no, I always thought that was such a cool video. One, and I don't know if you were there for this year, but there was a year with Jason as well. Mm-hmm. And seeing babyface you and babyface Jason back then, it's just like, oh my God, there is hope.
We were babies at one point.
There is hope. You did this transition. You do badassharmonica.com. You do all your microphones.
Right.
What got you into doing the microphone thing? Was there like a turning point?
There was a turning point. I bought my first microphone from a local player who used to live in New Jersey. Okay. No longer does. He lives somewhere else, and we still know each other. But he totally ripped me off.
Oh no!
The microphone sucked, and for me it was a lot of money at the time. It was like $100 or $200 or whatever. But it totally was not working right.
Got it.
And I got home. He didn't have an amp for me to play it there.
Oh, of course he didn't.
So when I went home, I tried it out, and it was terrible. And I was so frustrated with it. And I saved to get money for that thing. That I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna find my own microphone. And I started going and finding them. The first flea market I went, I found a JT30 for $5. The only time in my life that I ever found one for $5. But I found one at one of the first tables I went. Of course, it didn't work, but it kind of just gave me that bug. Like, I'm just gonna find my own and fix them. And I started building them for myself. And then people would be like, "Oh, where'd you get that?" And "Oh, can you work on mine? Oh, can you build one for me?" And then it just turned into this thing I started doing on the side.
So it turned into like a necessity for you, and then it kind of became this big thing for everyone else.
Yeah, well, and then I started, finding them to rebuild for myself, and then later on for other people, and then this one's different. Let me put this one aside. I never saw this one. I'll hold on to this, and then
How long into your harmonica career was that?
That was only like the first couple of years.
Was it really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Holy crap.
I was staying after school with my wood shop and metal shop teachers and chopping up microphones and
wow.
Yeah. So that was way before other folks were.
No way. So Dennis Gruenling is a pioneering entrepreneur of harmonica microphones.
I just, wanted to do what I wanted to do.
That's fair. So for lo-fi musicians, because lo-fi musicians are starting to realize that harmonica microphones are like the shit.
Oh yeah.
They're starting to really come into this world. How do you tell a lo-fi musician that oh, you can buy this telephone receiver, or you can buy this really nice aesthetic age, just JT30 from me that looks really cool with cheetah print.
Right. Exactly, yes. Well, I think the big thing is when they hear it. Because you see so many things online. I mean, and I was collecting way before eBay and before all this stuff and building them before that. But then everybody kind of dabbles a little bit with building a mic or building, fixing your guitar if you're a guitar player. And you see everybody trying to, show off or sell or resell stuff these days. But I think the key for the customers I've had and students I've had is when they actually hear how they can be used and how they can sound. That's the big selling point for any of this stuff. That's how I got interested in it to begin with. Sad Hours from Little Walter that I was talking about, the sound that he gets, you can't get that sound acoustic. Those textures and those harmonics and those things that he gets out of that harp only happens because of, it's amplified harmonica. Yeah. And then when you hear certain different things in person, you're like, wow, okay, that's definitely something special about that kind of mic or that kind of mic.
Is there a microphone that was like the holy grail that you got that you necessarily didn't think you would ever get, or something that you came across that you were just like completely baffled by?
Not necessarily, but when I was because my first crystal mic that I bought was terrible, right? And then I found a green bullet not long after that, and it sounded great because it worked great, right? So I considered myself a green bullet guy, you know, and I was for a couple of years, like. But then when I stumbled across an Ecstatic JT30 with a crystal helmet that worked well,
you're like oh, my whole, now I understand.
So like it was like a student of mine had mentioned to me after they bought their first crystal mic for me. They said it's like going from a black and white 13-inch television set with the antenna on it to like a 65-inch plasma screen, high definition TV that kind of with surround sound. Because it just has. There's this breadth of tone, higher highs and lower lows that you get with those crystals that it's amazing. And it was just a happy accident in history that stuff was made and it sounds like that.
For harmonica players, okay, because I know for guitar players it's a different answer. Is the harmonica mic more important or is the amp more important?
Honestly, it's the combination of mic and amp.
And why?
That's important. Well, because of those high impedance microphones, every circuit in those amps responds differently to those different types of mics.
Got it.
So it's a combination, but the other factor that's huge is how you use your hands. You got a great amp, you got a great mic, but how you but hey, you hold harmonica and you know what you're doing with that and you make it work. So even like Steve Geiger or Annie Raines, and they're great players, they do not have big hands, but they can hold like a big green bullet. They can hold a big green bullet mic and still make it work. How you shape your hand and really your seal and how you use that to create different tone and volume shadings and all of that is really the big part of that picture. For
the people that have no idea what a bullet microphone is, give me your best description for baby's first, what is a bullet microphone?
Aesthetics or sonically?
Both.
Aesthetics, I mean, it's almost like, I guess the size of your fist almost, right? I mean, it's much bigger than an actual bullet, but it tapers on one end usually, and they're very cool looking because a lot of them were made from the 30s to the 50s. But sonically, they just have a different sound. The two predominant types of pickups from the green bullet or the crystal from the Ecstatic, they break up pretty easily when you use them right. And it's a certain type of gritty sound that also has other textures depending on how you play that you can't get with other microphones.
Got it.
Other microphones are made to be clean and clear and that microphone sounds great, boomy and clear and clean, but that's not what you want, for the sound that we're looking for.
So my interpretation of all the harmonica stuff like that is people were coming into these clubs, they were plugging in, and this club might have 100 people in it. And they have to be heard, and the PA isn't that great. So what do you do naturally? You turn up the amplifier and you play as loud as you possibly can.
Totally. Yeah. It wasn't meant to be distorted and gritty. It was supposed to be clean, but tubes naturally harmonically but it also happened to sound cool.
If Little Walter was alive today, or if those blues players were alive today, would they still play the shitty gear?
Well, okay, see, that's a very interesting topic, and we can go on that topic for a long time.
It's huge.
So here's two different things, two different takes, really. When you look at players who've been at it for a while, James Cotton was at it for a long time before he passed. And most of the time, he just, especially his later decades, he preferred to just play through the PA. And his sound was always great. His tone was always great.
Well, it always comes from here.
Right. But when he did play amplified, and I was at some private shows where he did play amplified in later years, I mean, that was another monster. The sound was amazing.
Yeah.
But did he care that much? Who knows? Maybe not so. Would Little Walter be doing it? I don't know. I think
Little Walter was just the first example.
Right. Well, I think maybe Little Walter would not be doing it. But there is an appeal to that sound, and I had also, when I was playing with some of those older players when I was younger, we did some shows with Snooky Pryor, like one of the pioneers, one of the first amplified blues harmonica players.
Right.
And I remember this one show in particular we did, and I brought 2 amps because I wasn't playing obviously with him, but I had 1 amp set up. I saved my good Gibson amp for him, and I set up my other Dan Electro amp for me to use for the opening band. I did my little thing, and there was a little break in between, and I said, Snooky, you can use that amp. He's like, nah, I'll use yours, whatever. I said, nah, I brought this, you just check it out. And he played like 2 notes through it, and you can see his eyes lit up. He's like, okay, I'll use that. So there was something he really liked about that sound.
Yeah.
So before that, sure, it was the case. I think these guys just used what was around because back in the day, it all kind of sounded somewhat cool. Yeah. Because it was all the older gear anyway.
Well, and it was also very new at the time.
Yes.
It was a very new sound because I feel like acoustic harmonica was this fading out, like Sonny Boy Williamson first.
Right.
Like all that millions of records that he did. Mm-hmm. That sound was very much his sound. And I feel like that even as young players at the time, they were trying to find their own sound.
Right.
And that Chicago blues tone was so new because they didn't really have that amplification before.
Sure.
So it kind of became this enigma of this new age blues harmonica sound, which kind of mimics what all the saxophone players were doing in the 20s.
Right. Totally.
It added a whole new element to the game that necessarily no one was really expecting and became something.
I agree. But I'm also I'm very sound and detail oriented, and I love sounds, even just like sound doesn't have to be music, like sound effects. I love, any kind of sonic landscape. Mm-hmm. And when I heard Sad Hours, I was just like, man, I just love the possibilities of amplified harmonica sound.
We're doing the lightning round.
Do I get bonus points for anything, or do I win anything?
If you get the right answer.
Oh. Every answer is going to be right, so what do I win?
Or wrong. You don't know how harsh I am.
Well, yeah, but how would you know whether it's right or wrong?
This isn't Psychology 101. Don't fucking play. This is my interview, damn it.
You know the answers. That's not fair.
I'm in charge of this, damn it. Flips table. One harmonica technique that everyone gets wrong.
Tongue blocking.
Why?
Because it's very difficult to teach that to yourself.
One harmonica technique that someone always thinks too hard about.
Wow. This is not a lightning question. There was no lightning quick answer there. Thinks too hard about? How about the answer to your second question? That's what people think too hard about.
Okay. Yeah. Overrated harmonica player.
Oh, don't make me be the bad guy. In the general public, Bob Dylan, but he knows he's not like a harmonica hero because he tells people about Little Walter and Jimmy Reed.
Underrated harmonica player.
Underrated harmonica player. There's a huge list of them. I mean, I would say underrated. I am gonna say Little Walter, although some people would say he's over-recognized, but I think most people just don't truly recognize how great he is because very few players really study that depth.
Biggest harmonica influence outside of harmonica?
Lester Young or Pee Wee Russell.
God damn it, I'm completely blanking. That's cool.
This is not a lightning round, come on.
I'm trying my best, damn it.
I'm kidding.
Keep staring. Most influential harmonica song and why? And make sure that you pretend I'm still looking like I'm looking at you.
Oh, most influential harmonica song? Mm-hmm. I mean, I think in general it would be Juke or My Babe from Little Walter, just because like once you get into the harmonica scene, like that's what you hear about all the time. My Babe was so popular and a big hit for him, and Juke was like the biggest blues harp instrumental,
Right.
So those are kind of, I think, the standard answers for that.
Stupidest harmonica myth.
It's easy to play.
Yeah. Or we're just really fucking dumb. It can be both.
Yes.
Awesome. Most memorable thing that ever happened on stage that kind of shaped the way you play?
When I was younger in New Jersey, I was part of a band and we backed up a lot of the older blues guys that came through town. And this one instance, we backed up Pinetop Perkins at an outdoor blues festival. And I loved all these old players. I listened to them for so long and studied this music. But I was I was playing okay, but I was kind of nervous. Doing the gig, obviously. The first song we played, and it came, I was kind of nervous, but I was doing what I needed to do. But it came time for me to take a solo, And I remember it was just felt like I was listening to Pinetop on my record player, like, you know, like
That's
at
awesome.
home. I was like, okay, Dennis, just do what you expect to hear on the record. And I kind of just relaxed myself and allowed myself to be present in the moment and not really stress about it and overthink about it and try to play whatever came natural to me. And that was kind of a bit of a turning point for me, kind of relaxing more, being more in the moment.
That's beautiful,
kind of
man.
thing.
I really like that.
I'll never forget that though. I mean, it was like, you know, it seemed like it took like 100 minutes, but it was probably like 10-second revelation, you know, that
Yeah, well, Pinetop's not one of those people that like, he's one of those people that was just such a huge figurehead.
Oh yeah,
you know?
for sure.
So.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing.
Anything else?
But this other one, and I remember it was at a David Barrett masterclass, and I was performing at the end of the night with the band, and my favorite little Walter number is "Sad Hours." It's not really a lightning round answer. I'm sorry.
No, honestly, we'll tie all of it and we'll make it work.
So I performed "Sad Hours" because it's one of my favorites, and you know, it was the first one I learned, and it's still one of my favorite songs to play. And Rick Estrin was on the side of me, and I wasn't particularly in the best emotional and mental state that weekend. I had a lot going on in life, and it was just not very in a happy, excited place. And I remember just kind of putting my whole heart into it. And I remember I played it, and Rick looked up at me, and he kind of gave me the nod, and I was just like, wow, you know, because I've known Rick and we've been friends for a long time, and I love the guy, and he's one of the best out there. But you know, very few times, you know, people kind of really give you that look, and he gave me that look that day. And I was like, wow, okay, I guess I'm doing something right. I'm in the right place, and I'm doing something. So that was
great.
Nice. Yeah.
You got any more questions for me? I think we're getting pretty good.
So why are your nails not painted?
I get a discount. I get the best discount on the planet. So actually, that is true. I would get a discount.
Right? I mean,
know.
Come on.
I know. Could you imagine if I had like Wolverine claws on this hand?
That would be amazing.
It would look great.
That would be amazing, man.
Why don't you tell everybody where they can see your stuff, the bands that you're touring with right now, the interviews that you do. I know that you have a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. I'm on social media as Dennis Gruenling or Badass Harmonica. My Badass Harmonica website, I have a membership thing where I have webinars and video lessons and content to listen to and play jam tracks to play with each month. So I have that, but same site where I sell my microphones and my amps and shirts and jam tracks and all that nonsense. I'm currently mainly touring with the Nick Moss Band, doing, like we were talking, a lot of Chicago blues. But I play when I'm home in California. I do some shows with the great Rob Piazza, who's still playing out live.
Wonderful.
I do some stuff with some rockabilly bands on the Wild Records label in LA, or sometimes on the road. I was just in Wisconsin with them. And, just kind of doing
General
as much as I
stuff.
can. Yeah.
Cool.
So just my website has all that stuff.
Got it. Cool.
So thank you, man.
Dennis Gruenling, everybody.
I appreciate it so much.
No, this is so much fun. I'm so glad you did this. And we did not have one Jarritos while we were waiting.
We didn't.